Welcome to Hymns with Folawe, where we sing hymns with understanding. Today, we are looking at a hymn that many people associate with one of the most famous disasters in history. A hymn that has been connected to the final moment of the Titanic. But there is something interesting. The real story behind this hymn happened long before the Titanic ever existed. Please listen.
Nearer, my God, to thee, nearer to thee, e'en though it be a cross that raiseth me, still all my song shall be nearer, my God, to thee, nearer, my God, to thee, nearer to thee.
So, have you ever wondered why a hymn about drawing closer to God became associated with people facing death? The words say, "Nearer, my God, to thee." But what does it really mean when to ask God to bring us nearer? And what does the story behind this hymn have to do with Jacob in the Bible? Let's go back to the beginning. Nearer, my God, to thee was written by Sarah Flower Adams in England in 1841. Sarah was a poet and writer, and she wrote the hymn based on the story of Jacob in Genesis chapter 28. Now, Jacob was exactly not having a perfect day. He was traveling alone, the sun had gone down, and he had nowhere comfortable to sleep. So he took a stone, put it under his head, and went to sleep. And that night, Jacob had a dream. I believe you all know that story, right? He saw a ladder reaching from earth all the way to heaven, with angels going up and down. And then God spoke to him in a place where Jacob probably felt alone. God was there. And that is the picture Sarah Adams captured in this hymn. Nearer, my God, to thee. But here's where the hymn becomes really interesting. The hymn doesn't say, nearer to you only when my life is easy. It doesn't say, nearer to you only when everything is going well. Instead, one of the verses says, still all my song shall be, nearer, my God, to thee. Even in difficult moments, even when the journey doesn't look the way we expected, nearer to God. And suddenly, Jacob's stories make sense. Because sometimes, the place where we think we are most alone is the very place where we discover that God is there. Now, you've probably heard that Nearer My God Today was the final hymn played by the musician as the Titanic sank. That story has been told for generations. But here's the thing, we cannot say with certainty that it was the final hymn played. Different eyewitness accounts gave different versions of what the musician played that night. So the Titanic connection is part of the hymn story, but isn't the story of how the hymn was written. And honestly, I think the hymn's real story is even more powerful because it wasn't written about the Titanic. It was written about Jacob, a man who was alone, a man who was sleeping in an uncomfortable place, a man whose future was uncertain, and yet God met him there. So, maybe you are going through a season that feels uncomfortable right now. Maybe you don't understand why things are happening the way they are. Maybe you are in a place you never expected to be. And perhaps you are wondering, where is God in all of this? Jacob's story reminds us, God can meet you there. The difficult place doesn't mean God has abandoned you. The lonely place doesn't mean He isn't present. And the uncertain season doesn't mean He's not working. Sometimes, the very thing you thought was taking you away from God may become the place where you discover Him more deeply. So, the next time you sing, Nearer My God to thee, don't just think about the Titanic. Think about Jacob. Think about the lonely journey. Think about the stone he used as the pillow. Think about the moment he discovered God was there. And perhaps that is your prayer too. Not Lord, make my life perfect. But, Lord, whatever happens, bring me nearer to you. Nearer in my joy, nearer in my pain, nearer in my uncertainty, nearer in every season, nearer, my God, today. This is Into Folawe, where we sink into understanding. God bless you.